Welcome, everyone, to a little bit of light awaiting Moshiach. I'd like to review with you a very important concept as we are approaching Pesach. That is something very important that should be part of our Seder on the night of Pesach. And this comes from the Sefer Mitzvahs Katan, literally translated as the small book of mitzvahs. It's actually an abridged version of a larger work on a discussion enumerating and explaining the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah. And Sefer Mitzvahs Katan is an abridged version of that. And in short, we refer to this work as the Smak. And the Smak begins citing the Rambam Maimonides in his work Yad HaChazaka, in his code of Jewish law, in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, in the laws of the foundations of the Torah. And there Rambam writes, Leida sha'isai shabara sh'mayim va'aretz, to know that the one that created heaven and earth, hulavadai meishal mala umatul badal bruchais, he alone rules above, below, and the four corners of the earth. Kidechsiv, as is written, Anoich Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God, Asher tzosicha meretz Mitzrayim, who took you out from the land of Egypt. Okay, now, the Smak now continues, Leida, when Rambam writes Leida, to know, to acknowledge, Pirish means, La'afukim efer, he's coming to write against, to exclude the philosophers, Sha'amru sha'elam noeg me'ela b'mazalas, that the world runs on its own by mazalas, which I believe means the constellations. There is no leader, there is no being that leads the world, that runs the world. And even the splitting of the Red Sea, the exodus from Egypt, and all the wonders that were performed, they were just about mazel. They were just about some kind of power of the constellation, power of the stars. In some ways or another, call it a natural event. But again, even these things, so interesting that this belief acknowledges those events, but says again, it's not coming from any kind of supreme being. It's coming from, it happens on its own. And on that, and we need to believe and acknowledge and to internalize that what they're saying is a lie. Hashem runs the world, the entire world, beruach piv, with the wind, the spirit of his mouth, which is a way of saying by his decree. He took us out of Egypt. And he performed for us all the miracles. A person does not bang his finger below, unless they decree this from above that it should happen. That's quoting from the Talmud. Shenema, and this is based on a verse from Tehillim, from the Psalms. Lamed Zayin Chav Gamo 37:23. From God, the steps of man are established. Now, so the first point is that the mitzvah of believing in Hashem means that we believe that He runs everything in the world, not just that He created the world, but that He created the world and He runs the world. Now, and on this is dependent or based that which our sages say. We ask that a person is asked after death, by his judgment. We all believe that there's going to be a point of time that when our soul departs our bodies, that we're going to stand before the heavenly court and be judged. And there is going to be a number of questions that were asked, says the Talmud. And one of them is, Tzipisa li Yeshua, did you await the salvation? That refers to, did you await the salvation of Mashiach? Now, the question is, Vechen ksiv mitzvah zu, where's this mitzvah? Where does it say in the Torah that you have to await Mashiach? That it's going to be one of the basic questions that we're going to be asked. Elishma mina, bazeh toli. But the answer is, it all depends on this. The point is, shekashem sheishlanu lahamin, just as we are to believe that Hashem took us out of Egypt, as it says, the first of the 10 commandments, I am Hashem your God that took you out from the land land of Egypt, from the house of slavery. And what this means to say is the following. And I think what he means is that being that it's one of the commandments and it's something that we have to always bear in mind, or it's always something to believe, and it's meant to be something part of us for forever. Hachi ka'amar means like this. The same way I want you to believe and to acknowledge that I am the one who took you out of Egypt. So too you are to believe in me, that I am Hashem your God, and I in the future will gather you in and save you. And so should it be that he shall save us with his mercy a second time. Okay, so what the Smak is saying is that what lies in the first commandment, the mitzvah to believe in Mashiach, and therefore it's a question that's asked us eventually after 120 years, is the fact that we are commanded to believe in the exodus from Egypt. We are commanded to believe that Hashem took us out from the land of Egypt. The Yetzias Mitzrayim from Egypt was an event that shows that Hashem pays attention to the world, runs everything in the world. This is what all those miracles were meant to show. And just as we believe in Yetzias Mitzrayim, that Hashem saved us then, he runs the world and he saved us then, that so too the ultimate salvation will also come. Because we know that Hashem took us out from Egypt and runs the world, therefore we also know that Hashem will eventually bring Mashiach and save us from the enslavement of the exile. That's the answer. Awaiting Mashiach lies within the first commandment of the Torah. The first commandment of the 10 Commandments, which is counted as the first mitzvah of the Torah in the books that count the mitzvahs. Because if we believe that Hashem took us out from Egypt, that Hashem runs the world, he loves us and he saved us, then the same thing is going to happen throughout time, throughout our history, when we are suffering and when we are going through difficult times and we're enslaved and controlled by different forces that are causing us all our suffering. Hashem took us out of Egypt. That shows that he runs the world. He has a relationship with us. He loves us. And therefore that means that the eventual and ultimate salvation is something for our belief to believe in too. Because we believe that Hashem took us out of Egypt and saved us, that wasn't just a one-time deal. That means that Hashem will save us, and will save us in the ultimate way with the coming of Mashiach. This is something very important that we have to stress by the Seder. By the Seder night, we're not just talking about the freedom from Egypt, the salvation from the slavery of Egypt. It's really it's the foundation of believing that Hashem is the one who runs the world, watches over us, cares about us, and saves us from all the suffering that we go through, and eventually to have the ultimate salvation of Mashiach. So again, let's remember on the Seder night to impress upon our families, to mention at least, that just as we celebrate our freedom from the Egyptian exile, the Egyptian suffering, the Egyptian bondage, that is our basis to believe that Hashem will take us out from this gullus, from all the suffering, from everything that we've gone through. Hashem took us out of Egypt. Hashem will take us out from the gullus, from the exile, to Mashiach Tzidkenu, B'mehera V'yameinu, Amen. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbos.